Good evening. You're listening live to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, broadcasting to you from the Extreme Studios in the Pinellas Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. I have, on a very hot 97-degree Fahrenheit day, a gentleman from the Midwest is enjoying his low 60s of Fahrenheit weather, and that would be RDV. And RDV, tonight we're going to be going back, as we've been alternating some martial arts movies over the past few weeks, to Jackie Chan and Armour of God 1986, which you can find on the Internet Archive for free, a decent version, and Tubi has a very good quality print as well. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Armour of God, RDV, first watch for me, and I'll just start by saying I get what he was trying to do. I get he looked at Harrison Ford and said, Temple of Doom, I can do that. I can do better.
And he did.
Wow. Man, this is a heavy drinking episode because this would have been a great movie Thunderdome where two movies enter and one movie leaves, because boy, do I see Indiana Jones and maybe a little Goonies in here all over the place. And honestly, I think I see some James Bond in here too, which I'll talk about here. But this is weird, wild, wacky stuff, as Johnny Carson used to say.
Yeah, this is basically Jackie Chan playing Agent Hawk, who basically is like an archaeologist / like adventurer, like Indiana Jones. That was actually the intended purpose for this movie. And to me, it worked because I like the extra stunts they have in here. With the chase scenes, with the motorcycles, him taking off in the plane, him at the very end jumping off the cliff, landing on the hot air balloon, and then to wrap it up nicely at the end of the movie, you get the main theme music playing, but you also get the outtakes, which everybody loves. Basically, Jackie Chan's ex-girlfriend who ends up getting kidnapped because these cultists want these sets called the 5-piece armor, or the Armour of God. There's 5 pieces, and it goes back to the Crusades. Now they goof up and mention there was King Arthur, but it's actually King Richard that was in the Crusades. So they're whoever did the research didn't really do too much, but basically these cultists they believe that they destroy the Armour of God. They know that King Richard used to win the Holy Crusade Wars, that it'll destroy religion, and then allow their evilness to rise up again. Not the most impressive bad guys, but what do you expect from an 80s movie,
Yeah, I mean, it's a religious thing. It's out there. It's kind of like, when we talk about Temple of Doom, right? That's one thing. But in the third Raiders movie, you've got the chalice, right? The whole a natural life thing, and it kind of actually plays a part in it. Here, this Armour of God is a sort of kind of religious thing, and I like the fact that, in the 80s we did have the Raiders Lost Ark really making that template and smashing that where everybody wants to see stuff like it. I kind of like all that. We've talked about that, even though we've yet to review like the Dan Brown series or the National Treasures. Yeah. So it's cool that they have it. Armour of God. It's a cool title.
Yeah. Also has I think Lola. What's her name? Lola something. It's Lola Forner, who actually is a Spanish beauty pageant winner.
This is one natural, gorgeous woman, and boy, she should have had more to do in this film.
Yes, pretty much Jackie Chan after he steals the sword from this tribe and he gets chased by them, he takes off on the plane, and they all kind of like, it's kooky, whatever. And he gets away, and he sells it at auction, and he's basically just trying to make a fortune more. He's pretty like, he doesn't give a shit about the artifacts. He's stealing them, selling the auction.
Wait, you're telling me Jackie Chan, a Chinese communist sympathizer, who's culturally appropriating something from some...
Well, that has nothing to do with the movie, though.
No, it doesn't. But didn't it remind you of Raiders Lost Ark? How he started off, you're in somewhere you don't know where you're going to be, but you're stealing something.
Pretty much, he steals it.
Flying away in a plane.
Well,
come on, bro.
Yeah, he steals it, and he basically wants to bring it back and have it be auctioned off. He's got the sword or the sword of God, whatever. And so he's got his friend who basically wants to rig the bidding, so keep up the bidding.
Mm-hmm.
And then his friend, and accidentally goes too far. And he's like, freaking out. But of course, because Lorna, I just remember what Lorna Forner. That's what it is. It's such a weird
Lola.
name. Yeah. Not
That's
Lola.
the actress. So
Lola.
May,
Lola. Yeah.
May's the daughter of the guy that's prominent in the movie.
Yeah. So Lola is basically there, and she finally outbids it with the sword. He only ends up running into her after his ex-girlfriend May, basically gets kidnapped, and his ex bandmate, but also best friend, who says, I need the armor of God, so I need your help, So they go to this rich guy's place, and this guy has like they're like, what's this sign say? Because they can't read German, and they go in there, they go out the gate's open, and these are like 5 or 6 guys with like each have like 6 or 7 Dobermans on leashes, just barking at him. He's like,
I stopped counting at like 40.
So he's like, well, now we know what the sign says. Obviously, idiots. But yeah, and this guy gives a tour of his place. Turns out to be Lola's dad, and he so they wanted to basically take his 2 pieces or 3 pieces of set of armor, so they can basically as a ruse to get go take it to the ransom to the guys, get May back, and it says in exchange we'll give you all 5 pieces of armor, but I love it though because the fact that like his friend is such a bumbling idiot. And this is true of a lot of Jackie Chan's movies. Now, I would have loved to have Yuan Bao play the guy instead of this other guy we got.
Yeah.
I think his name Alan Tam. Because I like whenever they get in the fight scenes here, Jackie Chan, they went to go meet the ransom guy. So basically, they get these 2 guys start attacking them, and we got Lola up there, who basically got her rifle up. And doesn't know what she's doing. She's almost hitting them every time she shoots. Jackie Chan's doing on the flips and kicks and stuff, where his friend Alan, doesn't do shit. He's kind of like a damsel in distress. I would have loved to have more martial arts in this. It seems like we don't really get the martial arts stuff until Jackie Chan at the very end, where he's in the cave.
Exactly.
And that's where the movie just really picks up, really for me. Other than that, it's just kind of like hijinks, classic 80s Jackie Chan hijinks. Like where trying to hide people from one person to another person, don't see, moving from room to room. And it's kind of, you get the Scooby-Doo shenanigans. Mm-hmm. But the chase scenes are pretty good here. They got the guys chasing them in their Mitsubishis, Jeeps,
Yeah.
And he's got his little Datsun car, I forget what it's called, but they're chasing him. You got the guys on dirt bikes, basically like doing like jumps over traffic and stuff. It's crazy. But overall, I do like it. I can see why it was recommended to one of us, because it kind of falls in the line with some of the other ones we watched. And being Jackie Chan, it's going to be a showboat. It's going to be over the top, Mm-hmm. So you kind of roll your eyes. You're like, of course, they're going to do this. They're going to do this. Now, the story, though, is very simple, though. It's a simple story, as you said. And then they're copying Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
There's elements of actually Conan the Barbarian in here.
And
you got the guy that says, hey, I'll give you all these jewels, everything you need just to save my daughter, because that's all that matters to a man's love. More accurately and better played in that movie than in this one, because here I'm looking at this going, why is this considered, a great movie? Because honestly, I'm disagreeing with you here, except for one area. The action stuff and the stunt stuff was tremendous. I liked a lot of it, even if some of it looked like it was sped up. This is just a goof of a movie, and I understand Jackie Chan, to make him look the most successful, you have a slapstick partner like him. I get it. It makes you look less goofy. But there's something, and it was a big budget movie, right? They filmed it in all these different countries, and I'm looking at it going, it doesn't look or feel like a big budget movie to me. It feels like kind of like, I don't know if it was the way like the opening sequence, right? He's going to steal the sword. Okay, great. We got him getting into some action. He does a lot of flips and fighting and stuff like that. Okay, it was cool. Yes, it's a ripoff of Raiders. I'm not going to penalize it for that. But the way all the guys looked was kind of dopey. It's like he's making fun of whoever he's up against. Like here, you got it's not Cannibal Tribe. Would have been cooler if it was, but
which they're gonna sacrifice this girl. Now that is interesting. So basically, he's in there to steal a sword of gun, and he's sneaking around. He's got a little grappling, hook he fires through with his crossbow, and he goes through, and then is going to grab the sword, knocks the head off. This girl who's about to be sacrificed, and like she screams, I'm thinking, okay, these guys, all of a sudden, he basically tries to pass it off as his head as being the god, until one of the guys looks around and sees him like it's actually, he's an outsider. That's kind of funny. And then they start chasing him, and he also, you see him like he's running through the trees and the bushes, and he's like, what are you doing there? He's moving this thing here. Then you realize he's got a miniature plane he's going to take off in. And then because these tribe, doesn't understand what mechanicals, I guess, what good planes are. So that as soon as he takes off, they all start bowing down, thinking he's a god, because he can fly. But he leaves the girl to die, though. The one as we sacrifice, she's still there. That was kind of weird.
I don't have a problem with that, and it comes across as campy, so I'm expecting that. So that's kind of cool. And actually, I thought the scene where the tribe's chasing them, there's some. First of all, I think he may have directed it, but it's really quick, choppy action scenes rather than drawn out set stages and fights, which is different a little bit for me for him. But when he's standing there, and it's like, they all have their spears raised. How's he going to get out of it? And there's a little opening that he's going to go through somehow. He takes the can, he throws it at somebody, and they grab it, and he takes another can out, and he opens it up like it's a soda, and he drinks it like, hey, it's good and all that.
Yeah.
And then they do it, and it ends up being like a gas thing. That was kind of funny.
When he first knocks over the little fire pit, they have, and they're throwing the spears, he's rolling, it's rolling on the ground, and he's rolling with it, so it hits the can, not him.
That's cool. I'll take that.
I will say this though, because it's obviously going to compare to Indiana Jones. Jackie Chan, the Harrison Ford, I'd go with Harrison Ford every day, even though it's Temple of Doom, But I do like Jackie Chan for his style, so I can appreciate that. So, like I said, you're just an Indiana Jones style, and no matter who it is, you're not going to live up to Harrison Ford's charisma, his ruggedness. Jackie Chan is kind of a boy in this, and he's he's more immature, where Indiana Jones, and he's just trying to get the stuff and get to the museum, and then shit happens to him. And where he's kind of like in it just for the adventure and just wants to just make money. It's a big difference as far as their personalities. But Jackie Chan's character does know right from wrong. At first, he wants nothing to do with, his ex-girlfriend Lorelei, who got kidnapped. He just wants to make a quick buck, but then he's kind of roped into it. And so it's just, and they're forced to drag along Lola, the character, bring her along with her, and he's like, I don't want to bring her along. So they basically whatever they can to try to appease her, but also kind of ditch her too sometimes. But I said she ends up falling for him, obviously, and good choice because but and he's got I think
he's like 5'2" compared to her.
I don't care.
She reeks of elite level classiness, even though she can't act. Let's be honest. She's a Spanish girl going for a guy who obviously can fight. And Jackie Chan's not bad looking. I didn't say he was bad looking.
Yeah.
But she was short.
And compared to the guys around her, it's probably an improvement.
Our Latin contingent is going to have some heat directed at you, sir.
well, she wasn't in Spain. She was over in China, if I recall. Let's see what takes place. Anyway,
man, oh man.
So Jackie Chan's got two girls going after him. He wants his ex-girlfriend who wants him back, but he doesn't want her because she's kind of like a rich kind of suck up girl. The other one's kind of coming around to him, and then he got his friend who's just kind of dopey there. Basically, we're gonna call him Sunglasses because that's what he is. He was the star of the band that they're in, which was kind of cheesy. I was like, wait, Jackie Chan used to be in a band called the Losers. I was like, what the heck? What kind of pop name is that? Outbreak, because they both like the same girl,
right?
And he ends up leaving, and it becomes like an adventure. But so I don't know. It's just this is a very out there. This is a very kind of wild '80s low budget movie.
But it's not low budget. That's the point.
I know.
That's where I'm having some issues with it, because to your point, okay, they get into town, they get in that chase scene, right? And if you're watching it, you're going, okay, it's just another chase scene, right? But when you're watching it, you're going, God, that the way they felt. I thought the chase scene was better than the opening scene, which is good, because in a chase scene, you see how close that car comes to those motorcycles, right? Where they're almost touching them and stuff, and they're there for a split second or two on screen. I'm like, that's really, really, really good. It just doesn't elevate the movie in terms of making it a good movie. This is a movie that has a collection of scenes in it intertwined with some bullshit, dopey ass plot crap, and that's the problem I have with it. Because to your point, we talk about the endings, whether or not they have guns or weapons or what they do, styles and all that. This ending's kind of campy batshit, and it's good. It's very good. And the women that are in there, which we'll talk about shortly, are fantastic. It's like he's like, okay, if the movie sucks, guys, and you're still here, I'm really gonna save you in this last scene, because the last scene in the last fight is really, really good. It's just getting there. There's some stuff I'm like, really? what the hell's this with a cult kind of thing? It's kind of like I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, and as far as as far as the movie being kind of lackluster, as far as the fight scene, I compare it to Invasion USA in that sense.
Right.
I wanted Invasion. I wanted Chuck Norris doing more than just one kick at the end.
I know.
Wanted to do it.
I
It was just,
understand.
and it was
There's no story behind the kick at that point. You're right.
yeah. So this was kind of like leading up to the martial arts scene at the very end, and all stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it still kind of pays off for what it was. They did make a sequel to this, and apparently I was reading up in United States, it didn't go to get a theatrical release because whatever reason. It ended up going straight to DVD, and they cut like 9 minutes of the film out. They cut out the scene where May does the prostitute thing with the monk, and that's gone. Jackie Chan's concert scene is gone out of here, which was improvement for me.
Why would you get rid of that?
Because it's Miramax. They suck.
Oh boy.
So then they released, and I guess later on the sequel was released too. So this, I can't find the budget, but this actually made $16 million in profit. That was the estimated.
No, I don't know that it made that much profit. I thought, well, it's hard to say. I think that's what it was supposed to be, like the highest grossing movie in Hong Kong for a very long time, and I can see why, because by the standards that we had seen at that point, this is a globetrotting event, and whenever you have a globetrotting event with different cultures and different things, and you look back just at the fight stuff here, it makes sense that this is kind of a watered down movie that appeals to the masses, in that you have your adventure scene at the beginning, you got some campiness with it, it's not something you want to think about too much. Who cares if it's ripping off Raiders? Again, it's for more of an Asian audience, so even if they had seen Raiders, it's not like in our culture the way it is there, so that's fine. You get a nice little chase scene. So the hand-to-hand martial arts stuff at the end is good, because the spy hijinks stuff in there, her playing a prostitute and going up, she's way too hot to be one. The guy even says it. The guy was a dope. Okay, I expect that in this kind of a movie. But the fight scene where the evil warlord type dudes got like these 4 or 5, I'm not going to say African American women, because I'm just going to call them Amazons.
I love that though.
That's the best thing in the movie to me.
Well, they're fighting on the bridge, and then
it's great.
They trip because they're wearing heels, and then one looks up, she goes on her toes, and then she takes her heels off and starts fighting against them.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. Something like these warrior women come out and start fighting them, and so he said this movie is kind of the formula he's going to be using for his future movies, especially like in the past 10 years. He's been doing a lot of fantasy movies. Yeah. So I would say this is more along like that as far as the supernatural thing. But I'd say Jackie Chan excels more in movies like Super Cop or Police Story or stuff like that. Versus like this and some of his other movies. But I wouldn't say this is his worst movie. I'd say it's still a pretty decent watch. There is a copy on Tubi, but it's a shit quality though. As far as the video quality, I found it through another site, and I was watching there. I was able to get like a nice crisp HD.
Yeah, this is one you definitely want to see, because this is one of those movies that, to me, that's, even though there's a lot of enjoyable things to it, I want to see this stuff in high def. A crappy quality is going to make you think this movie sucks.
Yeah, I think it's an 88 Films. I think it's right. You can still buy it. But as far as the movie goes, quality, I thought it was pretty decent. Now I was watching it in the original Cantonese. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's there must be a US version around here somewhere. I mean, the English dub, but maybe not. Maybe it was released, just in normal with subtitles.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before. That didn't really harm it for me. I think what I saw was the Cantonese version, because I did watch the Tubi version of it. And but I also put subtitles on too, because I noticed there's some disconnects with some things. So it's not hard to follow, really, because it's the kind of movie where you're like, yeah, you just want the action.
Yeah.
And this scene at the end is one of the better scenes I've seen in with these women. These women are naturally athletic, genetically speaking. There's some wire stuff in here, no doubt about it. But the scene you mentioned where he's got these 4 women are like getting ready to take him out, and the one slides down, the way she rolls, I don't know even how to describe it, around both handrails go all the way down. But the best one is one where he kicks the one that that does like a flip and like breaks the bars. Of course they're treated or whatever of the because they're up there, they're escalated one level, and it breaks all the bars, the wooden bars. But then, and again, you get this in slow motion where flips over and lands, and then another one jumps down or whatever like that, and he looks and he kicks right when it's coming up, and that's in slow motion. You're like, fuck, that's a brutal scene. And I'm like, I like it because you know some of the goofy stuff with Jackie Chan, I told you I'm not the biggest fan of, but here the girls in high heels, they're already big, they're taller, they're in high heels. So when she goes up there, her heels are sticking, right? So what does she do? She gets on her tippy toes and backs up, and that's mildly funny. But this is a legit killing squad, and I like that about it. It's not some other dude that weighs like 120 pounds fighting.
Yeah. I love the said that learning about the stunts. I was just reading up on there, and the Wikipedia actually tells more about when he jumps off the balloon.
Mm-hmm.
It says on Wikipedia basically that he skydived. He didn't jump off the cliff like they show you like in the movie where he jumped off the cliff and jumps down. He jumped from a plane and landed on top of the balloon instead of jumping off a cliff as seen in the movie. But it says for the shot of him jumping off the cliff, they rigged him up to a wire because he had no experience in base jumping.
Right.
So it's like, but I mean, yeah. A lot of times, and that I'll watch these movies, and Jackie Chan, his movies, action movies, sometimes they're great, but the better parts are actually just seeing how he does the stunts.
Yeah.
And apparently, there's a scene here where he jumps, tries to go off onto a tree.
Yeah.
And he actually, and it says apparently in that stunt, he actually the branch broke when he jumped over the tree, and he fell and he hit his head on a rock.
Yeah.
And so he's
broke his skull.
To this day, he still has a piece of divot in his skull,
yeah,
where he fell. And like, I was like, oh, that's
I think that was the scene early on where I was mentioning with the tribe there that, they had, it was the red gas or whatever like that. And he jumps through and hops over because, you can see him jump over and it moves really fast. You're like, okay, that's kind of cool. One of the old, bend, don't break kind of things, but yeah. Mm-hmm. And any scene on the balloon is cool. But here's my whole point. One of the issues I have with it, some of the stunt stuff in here is just incredible, and it's so good. It really magnifies the stuff that's not really the good part to it. And I don't mind a goofy kind of hijinks kind of movie, which this kind of really is, but the stunts and the scenes, some of the stuff in here is really good. And I just, sometimes you can be too good where you outshine somebody like in a scene or whatever. And here, to your point, I don't care that him jumping on this balloon is kind of reminiscent of, like, say, the ski scene out of The Spy Who Loved Me, where the guy did that in one take, and it was a real stunt scene, one of the best James Bond stunts of all time. Mm-hmm. I don't care, because to your point, we've talked about this before, they're actually doing it, right? And so, like, when we have the chase scenes in the city, okay, I don't really care about the plot so much about how it got them there. It's the fact that they're in there doing it, and they're driving really fast, and the tires are getting really close to each other, and that's not easy to do. I don't care about these long shots of watching people speed like you see in your TikTok videos, your dash cams. I don't care about that. This felt fast when you're watching it, so he's got a very good eye for that. And to your point, these are the kind of things that in Jackie Chan's first foray into Hollywood that we've already talked about. By this time, he'd already kind of gone back. He wasn't able to make that kind of a dent because the type of film he'd have to make for the United States to be successful isn't, to your point, not quite the movie that he would want to make. And this movie found me agreeing with you, going, man, I wish he had Sammo Hung as kind of a goofball, as his buddy, because they had some chemistry. The guy he had here didn't to me. And I understand that guy was a big deal and all that. And I'm not saying the dude doesn't have talent, but I just felt like this was a collection of scenes kind of pinned together with some awesome stunt work and good things to it, which is very enjoyable. But it's very uneven for me. So I don't want to take away from anybody's enjoyment on it. It's just that some of the other films that seem like maybe the effects weren't as good or the fights weren't as good. Maybe they were better as a film from start to finish. So it's hard to really kind of criticize it. But what do you want out of an action movie? Do you want action? Do you want a story? I mean, so I'm trying not to nitpick too hard on it, but I'm definitely in the camp of, okay, I know people love this and think it's one of his best. There's some great stuff in here. I don't know. I don't know if it's one of his best.
I was on Amazon browsing to see how much this movie is going for and stuff. I just posted in the chat for you're actually watching right now. For those watching the replay, I'll post it in the description under the video. But so basically, there's a collection, a deluxe collection edition of this, and it looks really cool because it comes with a poster and a couple different things here. It's going for like $41 on Amazon right now, and then and I was just looking through. I never stopped to see how many like collections they have. Like there's a Jackie Chan collection, Volume 1, goes from 76 to 82. I'm kind of tempted to get that because I'm like, dude, it's getting harder and harder to find these on streaming.
Well, one of the reasons why we decided to kind of catch up on our martial arts movies, because here on the Extreme Movie Show, I always like to say it's 80s based, and you're like a 90s kid, I'm an 80s kid, so we kind of like, compare stuff. And Professor Pixel brings a whole new perspective because he's not aware of any of this. And so when we started off doing some of the typical American stuff, the Chuck Norris, the Steven Seagals, JCVD, and we branched out, I was always interested in Jackie Chan because I know you're a big fan of him, and I've liked some of his movies, but I never understood why he never took off in America. And it was very quickly obvious that the different types of films that are made, whether they're Golden Harvest versus this or that, or Japan or China or Hong Kong or whatever back then versus now, and all that is different. So in kind of comparing to what's out there today, I still prefer a movie like this because it is a globetrotting kind of dopey, check your brain at the door popcorn adventure, and it does feel that way. It's very successful in that.
The reason he didn't take off as well in America is because Americans, Hollywood, everything's like Cobra Kai slow when they do martial arts. He wants to do the stunts, and it all comes down to insurance. What are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do? Well, we can't allow you to do that. You can hurt yourself. We're not going to cover this. And he has his own crew that he likes working with. He's been working with for all these years. Really.
Yes, absolutely.
So it just flows so much better in his movies when he releases at the Golden Harvest than versus trying to do a combined movie in the United States. And also, the United States, a lot of us are snobs because a lot of us like a certain type of genre, and if it's not that, well, it's not as good as this. It's got to do that.
Right.
I've noticed that a lot. Where I feel like you get outside the United States, there's a lot more genres that are just embraced more. And a lot of it's it's not just people are watching in the United States. It's more like Hollywood. Hollywood tries to control what they release and they want you to watch. They don't care about you. Especially today, they release crappy movies and they expect you to watch them.
Right.
Where back in the 80s and
we'll make it for you. We'll tell you what you're supposed to watch.
It's totally different. Yeah. And especially the 90s was, like you said, you're starting to see some of those movies coming out. It's like I don't care for drama. 90s was a drama. The action movies were kind of going away. You had few action stars, and martial arts was kind of going away the dodo, especially for the United States. It's not like it was when we had Enter the Dragon and some of the Bruce had lived. I venture to say there would probably be much more love for martial arts in the United States. As far as movies being made with them, especially a lot of people loved him as what was his character on Kato? That's what it was on
Green Hornet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's more. I prefer Jackie Chan doing Hong Kong stuff, Hong Kong movies over there, Chinese movies, than doing the American movies. Not to say that current today China they censors what you can and what you put in there too. I mean that's unfortunately that's happening everywhere now. But overall, I like
his movie. That's you're getting the best of them. So I agree with you about the Hollywood thing. I do think that the Rush Hour movies are not bad. I know they don't give you everything he's capable of, but that's also later in his career.
I would argue that maybe the Rush Hour 1 is probably the best. 2 is all right. 3 is like, okay, we've seen this before. What's he gonna do next?
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So so Rush Hour, I'd say 1 and 2 were kind of like, okay, it's all right. But even then, I don't want Chris Tucker because I feel like that he brings down the movie compared to Jackie Chan just doing his own stunts and flips comedies he does over here, and he just seems to work well with Ewan Bryant or Ewan Bao, and then Ewan Bien, and then also Sammo Hung. When those three are together on screen, the chemistry, the comedy, the girl plays not Lorelei, but the other one here. She plays May.
Mm-hmm.
The blonde, Lola
mm-hmm.
is her name. She actually is appears with him next in a movie called Meals on Wheels. I'm not sure if we reviewed it or not.
We have not.
It sounds familiar, but that's so she's not a one and done. So I thought that was kind of neat because sometimes you get these women actresses come in there, like English actresses, they go to Hong Kong and then they're in for like 1 or 2 movies and then they're gone. I still say this though. I am sad though that Cynthia Rothrock didn't really do anything with Jackie Chan.
Yeah, and that she's somebody that
I
right
would
now
love.
when we
Yeah,
talk about our movies, it's these two, right? It's Jackie Chan and it's her, and it's like I wish I could have seen that film with both of those two going at it because she just looks so good doing it. And Jackie,
well,
to his credit, when he has the types of influence on a movie, whether it's I'm going to do the action scene at the beginning, I'm going to do the chase scene, we're getting those different types of things. We know here we're going to see stairs in use, right? We always talk about how in a lot of these movies, not all of them, but a lot of them, you're going to have like a hotel or some big open space where the shit's going to go down in, right? Here you kind of got that at the end with the Amazon women, which is a nice touch. The cult thing was kind of stupid and weird, but I'll let it go because you're right, it's like an 80s thing. But I'm telling you, I there's some great stuff in here that's like when you think of Jackie Chan, you're like, man, if only he could have put in some of this and some of the
so
Americanized movies of his.
I
You know
I
what I mean?
so I feel like Jackie Chan kind of actually took this movie and he realized that it wasn't as great as it could be. Apparently, the second movie has a higher rating on IMDb. Operation Condor, I think it's called,
Hmm.
or in regard to. So that's actually got a higher rating. But also for those who grew up in the late, I was born in the 80s, and I know late 80s, and I grew up in the 90s. There was a show called Jackie Chan Adventures where he basically goes with the supernatural, brings comedy. And it was a cartoon, and he just basically learned from this and leaned more into it and did and fine tune more things. But it's animated though, so it's not you're not gonna see him doing the flips and stuff. But I thought it was an interesting concept, and obviously Jackie Chan loves doing the supernatural movies. He's been doing a lot of those since then,
Hmm.
and yeah, because I mean, how often do we get an actor if they're able to do what they want to do and be successful? You know, because a lot of times said you're an actor and you're forced to take this role if you want to work.
Right, right.
Yeah,
He doesn't have to do it,
no,
so he
yeah,
definitely gets to
yeah,
influence what he wants, and I always appreciate that because to your point, one of
yeah,
the things that we didn't really mention, and it should be obvious, but I'll state it here again because it is a
yeah,
positive of this movie, is that he and his team are trying to think of ways to entertain you. Not saying, okay, let's just do a jump scene. It's
yep,
okay, we're going to do a jump scene, but how can we make this just slightly different than ones we've done before? Yeah, we're going to jump maybe a story or two out of a building or land on something, but maybe it looks like this, or maybe a woman's doing it, or
well,
maybe two
yeah.
people do it, you
Well,
know?
that's Michelle Yeoh on the train, and I think it was in Super Cup where she lands on the train on the motorcycle. Yeah, like I said, I love that he because not if it's not him doing it, it's someone else doing it, and man, we like the chasing in this movie. We got the people chasing him. Those guys are pretty talented for that. They're crazy risk takers,
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
they're the ones that crash, so they have to look crash and make it look believable, but also not die. so,
Right, right.
so I appreciate that too. But like I said, I thought this was a decent movie. It's hokey, sure. It drags in the middle. And of course, it's basically like every movie you see that comes out. Like what was it? Remember the Golden Child? That's a perfect example. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
they're there. They're
ev-
all
ev-
the movies are there.
everybody has their dud. But so, like you said, it says 16 million for combined profit, but
Mhm.
it doesn't say what the budget is. It's like imagine it's probably a minuscule budget, um, just enough. I mean, plus remember these guys also work without insurance too, so they didn't really have to pay much. But
Yeah.
so I don't know. I thought it was a decent movie. Anthony Draven is saying that apparently she did a little cameo in Project 8. I think are you referring to Cynthia Rothrock? Um, yeah, I mean, I don't remember being in there, but being like, I want a full movie with her, like them, like their co-stars. Like we just had Writing Wrongs with Yuan Bao and
Mhm.
Cynthia Rothrock. I want a Jackie Chan style like that. Jackie Chan has done a similar like that, but I said it was with Michelle Yeoh. So he can do it. It's just that he hasn't really done it though. So I don't know if maybe there's their schedules or the conflicts. But it's funny because they're both working for the same company, or at least she was towards
Mhm.
like I think what it was is that he started getting bigger as a star because he said like it was until age 40 till he finally had enough money to actually like feed his family and stuff. And actually was a made star because he started choosing the movies he wanted to do. But he said by that time I was pretty much injured. It was like because he had done so many movies, whatever he could come back. So I said it's a whatever his political beliefs or stuff. I still admire him for being an actor and what he's done. And I look forward to seeing some of his other kooky movies on here.
Yeah, the reason why I bring up the whole thing about him being, communist in China is because as a young age, he went to the training under the opera, and so he's somebody that culturally represents a lot of things about it. And we've talked about one thing we really don't talk about necessarily because we're not experts in it, so we don't necessarily talk about the styles unless they're very obvious, like in Cynthia Rothrock with her being a weapons expert, right? We talk about Jan being a goofy, likable, nice guy. Nothing wrong with that. He's just got that. He for him to play a bad guy, you're just not going to buy into, right? He's okay looking. He's got an okay physique, right? He's not the biggest guy. He's not the smallest. He looks fit. He looks legit. So when he does his movie and you know what you're going to get, that's cool. But the one thing about it too is I've always wondered, and I've heard different things over the years with Jackie Chan, going back to the Cannonball Run when I first saw him as a kid, and we're talking 40 plus years now, is you never know when somebody from another country, because in the 80s this happened a lot, where people would be in a communist type country, or let's say an athlete, right, not just a movie star, they get a taste of freedom in America and the ability to make money, where the government doesn't say, hey, you're only allowed this. And so that was kind of like a big deal. Martina Navratilova comes to mind, obviously, and that's, unless you're a tennis fan, you have no idea who she is, but several of them were like that, where they would defect. And so I always wondered about Jackie, how much of the reality that we probably have not heard of him going, man, I know I'm good. I know I can make a good movie. I don't understand why it's maybe not being promoted as hard as it could be. In America, they did it this way. I always wondered what kind of impact those two different cultures had on him, because I agree with you. He makes a movie like this.
Yeah.
If he came into America and got the exact same financing and it was the exact same movie, but it would have been pushed in America in a way that would have been different than overseas, I feel like America could have made it even a much bigger movie, right?
I remember Operation Condor, which is the sequel, Armour of God 2. I don't think I've ever watched it, but it came out in 1991. That was his big push to get over to America. So now I think about it, it makes sense, because I think I have watched the second one. I just never watched the first one.
Right.
So I don't know how much it has to do with the first one. But that was kind of made more for an I remember that being made more for American audience, and I think that got that was still distributed by Golden Harvest and stuff, and but I just remember it came over. You had Project A2 was just come out in '87, and then you had Super Cop, which was aka Police Story number 3, was '92.
Yeah.
And then he got Rumble in the Bronx and stuff. He's just got a huge push over in the United States. But ultimately, he kind of just left and went back to, Hong Kong and stuff, because, it's, like you said, Hollywood wanted him, like, well, you're moving too fast. Can you slow down your kicks? And then we'll speed up the film. He's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I want authentic,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just too much control and stuff.
Hey, don't be too beautiful, because, you can be too beautiful. I mean,
don't exert yourself. We can make more money. It's just like, unfortunately that's who's in charge of Hollywood right now. As far as there's a certain way you do things. If you don't do it, you're out.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's different,
and it sucks because it shouldn't be that way. That's why I like backing some. I like the smaller, lower budget movies. And lately it's with the way what's coming out lately as far as movie stuff quality. I'm finding myself looking at more of the Eastern Asia stuff, as far as like the Hong Kong cinema and current day stuff, whether it's Korean or it's Chinese or Japanese. I'm just looking more at their stuff, because American stuff is just kind of this, like, it's recycled same stuff, and especially with the ESG crap and all stuff they're putting in and everything. I prefer going back and watching the older stuff that I haven't seen, So unfortunately, we were able to find most of it. But I'm happy that I've just basically been collecting prints. I'm buying, like, we're watching movies in here. I'm just going on, if I can find it on Blu-ray, I'm buying a physical print, because physical media is pretty much the way to go. Because for streaming, it's not always going to be there because of rights.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you have the right to the access to view it when they decide to let you.
Yes. And somebody buys it and decides, well, I don't want it being shown to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Disney's famous for that. And I just went to the point where I just say, buy if you like Jackie Chan stuff, you can buy a collection. It's over. It gets over and on Amazon. It's like $60. From 1972 to 1982. So you're getting a variety of movies, Jackie Chan's early stuff, and yeah, I want to see more of that. I want to see Jet Li before he comes to the United States. I want to see
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I want to see the untainted Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
It's interesting because there's a lot to like in this film. Not necessarily my cup of tea, kind of awkward, kind of weird, but that's what it's supposed to be. So I could see why people are attracted to it, because this definitely feels very different than some of the other stuff you may be accustomed to with later Jackie Chan.
anytime you have a chase scene or somebody strapped dynamite to their chest, kind of goofy. This is a goofball movie with the martial arts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's a serious movie because it's not. It's not supposed to be a serious movie. It's meant to be a spoof on Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
and
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So if you're expecting something else, I'm sorry that you expected that, but
Any other final thoughts?
yeah. Just final thoughts. Just support the movies you love. Go buy physical media, whether it's VHS or on DVD or Blu-ray. Yeah, I still have 3 VCRs, man. So I'm able to copy stuff like my VHS onto DVD from my VHS. I have the VHS to DVD. So I've been doing a lot of that. So backing up my physical media.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't trust streaming, and it's just the point where it's, I don't know. I like being able to watch my movie when I want to watch a movie, and like I said, not wait for somebody to put on streaming. Because what it reminds me of? Back in the 80s, when you didn't have a VCR, you had to wait for it to come on TV to watch it.
Oh, yeah. Must see TV. And there was less stuff, and the writing was better, generally speaking. But
But I mean, like, I want to watch it when I want to watch it. We shouldn't be going backwards. We're going to the larger cell phones. we're going to the point where you can't watch a movie because it's not streaming. Everything else but the movie you want to watch is streaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. I mean, Armour of God, obviously, for what it's worth, it's one movie that people bring out a lot. It was a request by one of our viewers. So that's another reason why I wanted to do it. So I want to say thanks for that too. I know we've had some requests lately. We just got done doing our season 1, episode 7 episode of Columbo, the TV show from the early 70s. That's been a big hit. We got a few shout outs from Ireland and Germany, which is always cool to hear. We got an audience, and it's like that too here with movies, whether it's Jackie Chan or something else there too. So be interesting to see what we choose to cover next week there too. So
Tuesday, we got another movie review. If you guys want to let us know and comment down below, what should we review next? What ones have we ever reviewed that you think we should review as far as martial arts go?
We've just been in a phase of martial arts. It's obviously not all that we do. We do really anything too, but it's just we're in the mood for it. We're enjoying it. It's really cool.
It just seemed like people prefer martial arts. Nobody cares for Remo Williams. Sadly, it was a decent movie.
Well, you know what? People have body doubles, so there you go. I mean, you just don't know what you're gonna get.
Johnny Handsome has been doing well. I mean, it's up. It's got the 82. We like it to be in the 300s. Obviously, we have over 1,000 subs, but we would love to get like at least 500 views on each thing we do. But unfortunately, people sub and just don't watch, or maybe they just don't like the content we're doing. So we're trying to skew into the content people like. But we will occasionally skirt over to other movies.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob. That's RDV. Good night now.
And as always, remember to stay extreme and also comment and subscribe. Please do that. Our girl helps us, So later.
See ya.